So my first 3 months and 25 videos on YouTube, I hit 1,000 subscribers. And in working with some of you fellow ADHDers, I've learned a lot of lessons about being a creator with ADHD along the way and wanted to share some of them. For those of you who are new, I'm Chris. I help fellow ultra-normal brains focus, grow, and get stuff done. The first thing that I've learned is about follow-through. As ADHDers, we can struggle with follow-through. I'm almost 40. I've had a million projects that I've started and stopped. And this year was the first year that I stopped and asked myself, what do I want to do? I came to the conclusion of two things. One is my movie, which is a whole other story. And the second is this, my YouTube channel and coaching business. Once I narrowed down specifically what I wanted to do, it became a lot easier for when things get tough to ask myself, like, how do I get through this? It became a lot easier to start following through on the things that I wanted to do because I was in a place where I was like driven by the intrinsic value, the internal value of it, rather than doing things that I feel like I should do or that I feel like other people want me to do. It comes from a place of inside me rather than doing it just because it pays the bills. I think I realized over time that I'd rather make zero money from doing my thing than not do my thing and make lots of money living somebody else's dream. And that's where I was living at the start of last year. So I've learned a lot more about how to follow through, and a lot of follow through comes from internal motivation rather than the sort of external motivation. Another thing that I've learned in running the YouTube channel is creating a lot of content requires a lot of organization. As ADHDers, we can struggle with switching between one task and another. And it can be a real challenge to constantly be switching between multiple different hats, multiple different roles. I've worked in video production for a long time. And while variety can be good for us ADHDers to keep up our interest, to have constantly new things, it can also present challenges when it comes to task switching, because switching between tasks requires cognitive load. It requires brain power to switch from one thing to another. So it's almost like you have to decelerate your car to zero and then start back up again. So in the past, I'd had pretty good workflows when it came to video production, but doing it for myself was very, very different. Working alone can be pretty challenging for task switching. And I make around about an hour or just over an hour of content a week for the YouTube channel and also for my coaching members. Writing, fact-checking, editing, graphics, etc. Plus there's coaching calls. I really had to dig down and create much clearer systems for myself to help reduce the task switching and reduce that cognitive load that it takes to switch between multiple tasks and wear multiple hats. One of the things that I recommend is for the low cognitive energy tasks, the stuff that doesn't take too much brain power, I batch all of them together to make it easier to get through all of them. But the really high cognitive tasks, the stuff that takes a lot of brain power, break them up. Breaking it up into smaller tasks really, really helps. Just before I move on to the next one, I do want to thank everyone that is subscribed to the channel. This really has changed my life in so many ways over the past few months. When I started writing this video, I was at 1,000 subscribers. I'm now at over 1,600 subscribers. So I just want to thank everyone for subscribing and taking the time to comment and like the videos, and for the great conversations and comments as well. I do read and reply to all of them that I can do. And if you're not subscribed, why not? Click subscribe right now. When it comes to running a YouTube channel, there can be a lot of pressure for people pleasing. Not everyone, like friends, family, or colleagues, are really going to understand or want the same things for you as you do. And some people will actually take what you're doing as a personal attack on their ideas for you, on their identity. And it can be human to think that they're not supportive or that they're attacking you. And as someone with ADHD, we can want to be a people pleaser and try to do the things that they want, as well as the things that we want. We want the best of both worlds to please everyone. But ultimately, it can lead to burnout, and trying to please everyone usually leaves your own desires, your own wants and needs on the back burner. So one thing that I recommend is just not feeling like you have to defend your choices. You can hear people out, you can listen to what they have to say, but don't feel like you have to say anything back if you don't want to. Everyone will have their own opinions, ideas, so just remember that you don't need to do the things that everyone says that you should do. For me, I listen to people that are close to me. I listen to their ideas, their opinions, even if they're negative. But I don't feel like I have to defend myself or have to change what I'm doing in order to please somebody else. Dealing with negative feedback. My first ever comment on this channel was the words "shut up." And years ago, that would have led me down a rabbit hole to argue and to make some backhanded comments or something like that. I actually found it quite funny in the end because it was on a short about receiving negative feedback. So I don't know whether they were trying to be ironic or whether they just passed by and wanted to be mean. Just remember that everyone is going through their own story. You know, I take the comment as real feedback. If I can get value as to how I can improve, then great. But it's important to look past what people might be saying and think about what they be feeling. And this helps in order to not take it personally. When people say things that are hurtful or mean or just simply negative and not useful, it's usually just because they're going through their own thing. They're going through an event in their life and you're the person that just happened to be there. Half the time that I do receive negative comments, I just leave like a nice reply being like, thanks, and people just delete it. So there's a lot of negativity that comes from being online and creating things. There's a really good book that dives deeper onto not taking things personally, which is called The 4 Agreements, which I highly recommend to everyone to read. Another thing that I've discovered is that a lot of people still think that ADHD isn't real, but these same people still want help with it. I literally get emails from people telling me that ADHD is not a real thing, but then asking me how they can get coaching for their lack of focus, which is pretty wild. And I kind of see these people as almost at like a halfway point between realizing that they have challenges and fully wanting to do something about it. It's almost like they have one foot in the past and one foot in the future, and they're trying to figure out what they should do. And to be honest with you, that's actually something that I have felt in the past. Before I started therapy quite a few years ago, I knew that I was struggling, but I didn't want to admit it. So I just kind of not actually confront my own challenges myself or admit them to myself. Oftentimes when people think that ADHD is a myth, a lot of it can come from fear from themselves. So it's kind of a vulnerable position for them to be in. So when they feel vulnerable, people can get angry or skeptical or feel exposed because somewhere at the back of their head realize that they may need some help or support with this. The more challenges you put yourself through, the more you're forced to learn about who you are and what you want and who you want to be. In the first 3 months of starting this channel and my business, I think I learned more about myself in that time than I did in the past almost 40 years. Starting a business and making content online, it takes up so much of my executive function energy. And I've had to become a lot more disciplined with how I plan and use my time. And I've had to start saying no to a lot of things, to a lot of people. I have to be a lot more decisive about who and what I spend my time on. And that requires a lot of me digging deep into who I am and who I want to be. The more that you know about yourself, the more that you are able to start making decisions on what to say yes and no to. Sometimes we can work to avoid challenges in life, but the good thing is with challenges is that they can force you to decide who you want to be. And that's, for me, been a huge eye-opener. When things get tough, you have to make a decision one way or another and start saying no to a lot more stuff. And that kind of brings me on to my next point. One of the viewers actually left me a question asking, how did I start choosing which bits of ADHD that I wanted to make content on? And the truth is that when it comes to ADHD, I coach ADHDers, but ADHD is never just about ADHD. ADHD itself is actually quite simple in what it is, but the impact of this very specific thing is what makes an ADHDer's life difficult. While other ADHD YouTubers will choose to specifically focus on the exact science of ADHD and how that works, I prefer to look at the impact and the tools and what we can do about it. We are not just one person with one interest, one personality, and one set of struggles. There's a wide variety, and this is why I love learning more and more about the people behind ADHD rather than just ADHD itself. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of my content is on relationships. Those who know me have known the years of relationship coaching that I've done, and this is part of myself. Again, it's part of what aligns with me, and it's part of the varied content that I want to produce more of, because ADHD can have a huge impact on our relationships and our communication. And if you want more ADHD tools, then I invite you to join my free Focus Bootcamp, which lays out step-by-step the same tools that myself and other Ultranormal members use. I'll leave the link in the description down below. And if you do want more ADHD tools, then feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I will leave you with a playlist with more tools right here. Thanks, guys.